Words and Music is about songs, and it's about songwriters, people with stories to tell and the gift to make us believers. This week's guests are Dr. X and Recluse. Scarab is their name, and bass is their game. Words and Music. If we believe the singer, we'll believe the song. Dubstep, bass, reggae, electronic, world, these all make up the music of Columbus, Ohio-based duo Scarab. When your hometowns are Bucharest, Romania, and Lexington, Kentucky, USA, you can pretty much expect that the music's going to cover some diverse ground. Because of this, Scarab lays down a constantly changing sonic landscape that's edgy, trippy, and bass-heavy. And here to initiate us into this bass culture music of Scarab are Recluse and Dr. X. Gentlemen, welcome to Words and Music.
Good to be here.
Greetings.
Romania, Kentucky.
Yep.
How did you guys get together?
I think we started DJing together about 3-4 years ago, and found out that we had a mutual love for dub music. Then started getting in the lab together, and one thing led to another. Yeah.
So, you came here when you were a teenager.
Yeah, about 18 almost.
Okay, so
yeah.
so you had developed, a musical landscape, and what kind of music were you listening to, and were you influenced by when you were there, and then how did America hit you musically?
Yeah. When I was there, well, I did listen to some hip hop, early hip hop, and some electronic music like Vangelis, Jean-Michel Jarre. That was my first exposure to electronic sound, really. And then I started going into the new wave that was coming out of England. New Order, Depeche Mode, all those guys.
Okay.
So that's what I brought with me. But I was not really part of the music scene per se. I liked it, but I didn't do anything about it until I got here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what hit you when you got here?
A band called The Orb. That's what did it for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was. I still remember it so vivid. Just still in my high school, about to graduate. One Saturday morning, wake up, turn the radio, and I hear they're playing the Orb live CD. They have a double live CD, and just turning that on and sitting in bed and listening to it is just like so much going on, so many layers, and it totally just knocked me out of my sense. I was like, what is this? What's going on in there? And that got me into really start searching for those sounds, and production and all that fun stuff.
Tony, what about you? I mean, you've been around the block here. Lexington, Kentucky, you don't look like a hillbilly to me.
No, left me overalls at home. Blues is what I started with. Did stuff with John Lee Hooker, Albert Collins back in the day. Brief stint with Ginger Baker from Cream.
As a guitarist, as an electric guitarist?
Yeah,
okay.
Electric guitarist, vocalist. Yeah, that's pretty much where I started, and then got the bug. I went to see Marley at his first American performance at a place called Paul's Mall in Boston. And the bass and the bass pocket and the space that the bass puts in the mix kind of captivated me, and been dealing with reggae and fusions of reggae and different genres put together with reggae as well.
Right, but you can hear some of the you can hear the blues in you too.
Yeah.
You've got some blues stuff.
Sticks out every now and then.
Yeah.
Well, we are the sum of our parts.
Exactly.
And so you can't deny what is right there.
Yeah.
Well, as an electronic player, did you start out with any of the natural, real, traditional instruments like guitar and bass and drums and that sort of thing?
Not really. I mean, when I was a kid, I kind of got involved in that a little bit. played a little bit of guitar. We had a piano in home. I was even part of a choir. But
Yeah. Oh, did you know this? Okay, so we can
Until I got kicked out.
Scarab. Yeah, we were talking earlier about school.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. I grew up in a communist country, and when you are part of that, you don't have much say, and you just have to roll with the punches, and those punches was not meant for me. So I didn't like what was going on, so I couldn't really get into the music because everything was just a lot of propaganda, you know.
Are you a writer of music, of traditional type songs? Did you ever get into that?
Yeah, but not writing in the sense of proper writing. I write lyrics and I put chords and melodies to go.
Well, that's
with
what I
it.
do. So I call. I call it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't read music though,
Mhm.
so yeah. But writing in traditional sense, yeah.
Bob Marley probably couldn't either. Or
I
could he?
don't know. I don't think he could read, but it was the same thing. He had a gift with words.
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
And in the studio, you have to, develop a language to make it efficient to be able to run a session. And
Right.
people do chord charts and people do whatever means
Yeah.
that they use. I'm interested in the actual components of what your sound is. I mean, how does it start? I mean, right here, we've got an iPhone and we've got an acoustic guitar,
Right,
which is
right.
actually kind of an interesting way to really kind of talk about your music because
Mhm.
there's none of either. Well, you got the iPhone happening,
Yeah.
in the show, but when you're sitting down in the lab, as you call it, how do these ideas, come forth and turn into the, product?
Usually for me, it's usually with bass and drums. More often than not with the drums and a bass line. Sometimes it'll be drums from him and my bass line or vice versa. We don't have a strict regiment of making music. We kind of toss stuff back and forth, and
You left that back in Romania,
Yeah.
the way
Definitely.
the way to do it.
right,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, technology today, it's making it so. I want to say it's making it easy, but not, like, hey, you can just push a few buttons, make a song. Not that way. It's making it easier for us, I think, to express ourselves, especially for somebody like me who's is non-trained musician. So, a lot of times we don't even get together until later in the process. I mean, sometimes I'm at home and I have an idea, and quite honestly, some of these ideas start with as simple as an iPhone with a drum pad and just like start writing down. Just like a regular musician will write down some notes or some lyrics, I could do the same thing with a phone. And then from then on, you just sort of, emphasize that. And,
We're blessed too because we both have studios and have identical DAWs, and
Well, that
Right.
makes it a lot easier.
it's
So
a
you
lot
can
easier.
swap back
Yeah.
and forth.
Right, yeah, that's what it comes down at the end of the day, basically. We do a lot of swapping, and then eventually we get together and just sort of
Okay. Well,
working with the tracks.
so how did the song "Pressure" come about? Kind of run us through the process. of
That was a
one.
track that he had already made. It was he had this track made. At this point, we already got together and we started working together in the studio. And I used to go to the studio a lot and just sort of start from scratch on the spot. And then I'm not quite exactly sure, but I
Me
think
either.
you had the track, and I really liked it. And I said, hey, let me do something with that. Let me rework that a little bit. And I think I reworked it so much that it turned into something else.
Did you
and-
dig that?
I do,
Yeah.
That's another element of magic of working with him is a lot of times at the end of the day I'll give him something, he'll flip it significantly to where we've got two versions at the end of the day, and they both work really well.
which is something normal for like reggae and dub process, versioning, doing different versioning, kind of, I mean, they used to do it kind of on the fly, on the spot. These days we don't do much of that, we just do it.
Well, you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay.
So we're gonna do pressure, okay.
On the iPhone, an acoustic guitar.
Right.
But wait, folks, there's more.
You ready?
Down like locusts from the desert. Everybody got them pyramids cool. A kilo of cocaine, a baby with no name. I've always heard that America eats its young, and I can hear the wolf calling in the distance. I can hear the wolf calling in the distance. The motivation by which to move by. Power resistance is what I now live by. A corporate stream, bailout dream. But I'm supposed to believe in God we trust. No job, no shelter, no food. Seems to me revolution is in order. No work, no job, no shelter. Seems to me revolution is a must. Calling in the distance. I can hear the wolf calling in the distance. I can hear the wolf calling in the distance. I can hear the wolf calling in the distance. Distance.
And I'm a digital filmmaking student at Cuyahoga Community College. I'm learning so much. There's so many hands-on opportunities. Animation, editing, digital filmmaking, graphic design, recording arts and technology. After finishing classes, I plan on staying here, and I really want to give back to the same community that gave to me. Tri-C, where futures begin.
It's fascinating how it can change from just a stripped-down duo to the song. But I think the people who are listening to it can get the process. What I'd like to really kind of go is you've got an EP. Scarab is a newer name for you guys. You've been, doing things separately forever.
Yeah.
And now the concept of your band, where do you want to take it?
I'd like to take it as far as we can take it.
Right, exactly.
Hopefully the link up I did some work with a guy, Imk, from Subatomic Sound in New York City. And we did a couple of gigs together in Brooklyn. And he was interested in our work, but wanted us to do more. So he'd have tracks that no one else had.
Okay, right.
So with Imk, Dr. Israel links with Mr. Lee Scratch Perry and Dub Gabriel and some other mates that are already out there at the forefront of dub
These
music.
guys are all veterans of bass music,
And
dub,
they're digging what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like because you've been around the block and been around the scene for a long time, you've developed relationships and played all over. You've pretty much played lots of places in the world.
I have.
Starting with
I did, yeah.
when were you in Europe first?
In Europe, 83 through early 90s. Was based for a while out of Florence, Italy. Then Milano for a wee bit in Germany. And
So your influences and the people that you played with were probably far-reaching.
yeah, for the most part, when I was there, I was doing blues and reggae with not a lot of European input per se.
Okay.
It was,
Well, are you guys up for touring? Are you up for, getting in?
We're up for anything. Really. I mean,
yeah, man.
yeah, I'm definitely interested in collaboration. And this album that we're working on, we have different people that came in and did some instruments, but also lots of vocals too. And that's what I like to see, more of that in the future.
Are you doing live shows now?
We're just starting to, yes. Now that we finished the tracks, we're kind of, all right, we're done with the studio, being, locked in here enough. We need to get out. So, in fact, the performance that we just did here, that was the first one in
Okay.
a long time.
Well, we are happy at Crooked River Group to, support new, exciting, experimental, music by, cats that really have a focus and a drive. I mean,
Good
that's
things, good things.
where it's at. So, we want to make sure that we get your music out to the public and bring you back and do programs. People don't know what you're doing and the types of things that you're doing. Young kids, they've had not been exposed to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they are exposed to it, then all of a sudden they're thinking their worldview gets to expand.
And
Somewhat
then
too.
they can do a little research and pick apart many different facets of our music because it's got a lot of stuff in it.
Well, okay, so let's kind of break down a tune again, just in terms of seeing if we can kind of trace the lineage of conception to, execution, so to speak. Uomo Matto, right? No H in it?
Exactly.
Okay.
H is
I'm
not
learning.
Yeah.
My Italian is about like this. Okay? It means madman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's really kind of a reaction to, to what's been, on the scene before. But it's your interpretation and your version. So where'd it come from? I mean, just in terms of what you're doing, on it.
It comes from an old school rhythm that I couldn't really discern the track, the lyrics on, so kind of rewrote them. It's basically dealing with a man that's mad, politics, hunger, man's inhumanity to man, lies, just
Okay.
fuckery.
Quite
in the world
related
today.
to today's society, I would say.
Yeah, or probably any society as we go, as
Exactly,
we've been, and probably
exactly.
before.
There you go,
People
yeah.
don't seem to learn much, generation to generation.
Yeah, so that's why we have to keep talking about it and singing about it.
So, did it start on the guitar? You and guitar voice, or how instrumentally? How did you guys build it up?
Actually, instrumentally, I built a drum track and had a friend of mine from a reggae band in Columbus, Scene True, Sean, come out and put a live bass on it, and I put more instruments on it and then gave it to him, and he did the Recluse magic and flipped it, and
What is the Recluse magic?
Recluse magic. This is where I come in, basically. I grab
roll
these
up your sleeves
things- Yeah,
and you
exactly.
just
I
do
lock
that.
the door, turn off the phone, dim the lights. Well, I do a lot of editing. I'm really big into editing, mixing. So that's where I really come in and work my magic. Where I try to grab some basic rhythms and just sort of lay them down on a canvas and just start moving things around.
he's brilliant
Adding
at
and
arranging
subtracting.
as well.
From your raw parts.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And dealing with little frequencies. I'm very big into frequencies. Just see what works with what. And that's really it. It's all just mixing, arrangement, and then trying to get a
engineer
feel.
Producer, in a sense.
Yeah, I wear a lot of
Alchemist.
hats. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but at the same time, during the process, we keep in touch and we sort of talk about it, and we check each other out, as you might say. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
So that
hey,
you're not going overboard in one direction that you might not be hip on.
it's helpful to. Right, you don't want to just get really locked into it and then lose the flavor that he brought in to begin with. You still want to keep that. You want to keep that in there. Just emphasize it. You know what I mean? So that's why we have to constantly just talk to each other and say, hey, I'm thinking about moving this around here. How do you feel about that? And then he gets back to me. It's a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference, I think.
I think the bottom line too is the respect that we have for each other. At
Right.
the end of the day, I respect what he does. He respects what I do. And
Yeah, we're very easy and very fast. We don't, it's like, okay, I come in, I say, this is what I got, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, I'm good with this, I'm not good with this. And I'm just like, okay. And then I go work it, and then we just move on. There's not much of,
No drama.
man, come on, I need that in there. Do not cut that off,
Yeah, 10 years ago you might not think that way.
We're just like, let's move on,
Right.
And that's what, once again, that's what dub and reggae music is all about.
So let's move on and do the song.
Let's do it.
No more talk.
There we go.
I am a madman. I am a madman. I am a madman. Woy-yoy. Human Rights Declaration throughout the universe. Trinity people never see what they call it. We who have vanity can't turn around in Kingston. Oh yard, oh yard, oh yard. I am a madman who come to cool the dark man. I am a madman, oh yeah, Shaking with the devil, shaking with the devil. Shake hands with lightning, shake hands with thunder. Truth is running over, liar run for cover. Shaking with the devil, liar run for cover right now. I am a madman, I am a madman, who come to cool the bad one. I am a madman, The moon is taking over. The sky is taking over. The truth is taking over. Light is taking over. The days are taking over. The weeks are taking over. Dr. X is taking over. Dr. X is taking over right now. I am a madman who come to cool the bad one. I am a madman, come on! Watch me now!
Reporting from on the ground, headquarters. It's on some ground.
This is Rockland. This is Rockland.
I am a madman. Madman. I am a madman.
Well, Recluse and Tony and your friend here who has been silent this whole time.
This guy right here. He's an old buddy of mine.
Old buddy. Well, Dub, you're a trio, and so you're a trio called Scarab. And how do the people find you on the World Wide Web?
Factioninc.com. That would be one of the places, and
Facebook,
Okay,
Facebook, SoundCloud. I would say.
Reverb Nation.
but check the spelling of Scarab. S-K-A-R-O-B.
With the K, exactly.
Right.
Scarab with the
Well,
K.
we wish you a lot of luck. I can't wait to make long road trips using your music as my soundtrack, and have you guys be playing all over the world.
One more thing I want to add, we're working on a full-length album which just come out on Subatomic Sound System next year out of New
Okay.
York. So that should be exciting. We got lots of new guests in there.
Excellent. Well, hey, I'm Tommy Wiggins, and you're watching Words and Music. We've been grooving with Dr. X and Recluse of the duo Scarab. We'll see you next time for another round of Words and Music.